Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to talk about Frozen 2, the sequel to Frozen 1. A movie that, at least to me, has a lot of controversial opinions about it. There are people who love it, there are people who hate it, and then you got people like me, who thinks it's just okay. Like, don't get me wrong, I get it. A lot of people were sickened by how much Frozen was shoved down their throat back in 2013, 14, 15, and onward. But if you put that to the side and just watch the movie for what it is, it's okay. Good music, all right characters, a neat setting, and a story that took some liberties with going in different directions. Both good, with like the sisters and the relationship, and bad, whatever the boyfriend's name. I thought he was boring. Also, Olaf was kind of annoying, but nothing's perfect. Though he is much better in Frozen 2. So let's talk about that. Leading up to the movie, I avoided trailers. I wanted to go into the film with zero expectations, just basing it off of the last movie, which again, I put aside how much there was of it as far as being shoved down my throat, and I just wanted to see the movie as it was, for its own merit, for its visuals, for its story, for its characters, for its music. That's the experience I wanted with Frozen 2. I only saw posters, and that was it. By the way, if you want to watch a video that goes into the full-on history of Frozen, check out Cosmo's video. Alright, so Frozen 2. What did I think? I thought it was both good and bad. I'll explain why. So off the bat, I see this movie as more of an expansion. Like the first movie established the city of, I always forget its name. Harrenhal? That's definitely not it. The town. The fact that there's a monarchy with the princesses and the queen and king of whatever the town was, the people, the ice powers, that this is a world of magic, that Elsa and Anna are sisters of lost parents who died tragically when they were young, how Elsa and Anna are all that they have left in the world and go on this journey of self-exploration. Here in Frozen 2, we get more of that. I thought that the way they developed the relationships worked for Anna and Elsa. Kristoff was stupid. I did not care about his story. He was a B-plot trying to propose to Anna. He even got his own song, which I thought was not that great. It felt like a waste to me. It just didn't work for me. Versus Elsa, who is going off to see if she can discover if she's the Avatar or not. By the way, spoilers. She hears this magical call up north and she's driven by it. She wants to explore it. It's basically the only thing she cares about in life. And then you have Anna, who's chasing after Elsa, being like, no, we should do this together. Don't forget what happened last time. You almost died. And I actually think that's my favorite part of the movie, is the frustration of Anna, trying to keep up with Elsa, trying to hold on to her. Feels like her entire life is starting to crumble away. The way she misinterpreted Kristoff's proposals were kind of frustrating, but more importantly, her chasing after Elsa, who you got one of them who's like, I'm on a mission, I've got to find out what I'm supposed to be, what this call's about, what is this mystery, and then Anna trying to keep up with it. I like that. I also liked Olaf. I like that he was a nihilistic son of a gun. There are parts in the movie where he's like, life changes and you grasp onto things in the hopes of it will remain, but you can't with the passage of time. It's like super meta philosophical. There's even a scene where, again, spoilers, he's in a cave and he's dying and he's talking about like, I don't know why, the way this scene painted it up, and for those who have seen this movie, they might relate to this, but he's like grabbing onto Anna's face as he's dying. And he's like, I know one more thing that is permanent. Warm hugs. I thought he was going to say death and then just die, which if that would have happened, I would have just stood up and applauded and be like, wow, what a bold movie for youngsters.
Oh, look at that. I've been impaled.
So the main plot, I'll try to summarize it a bit more, is this magical call that Elsa's trying to answer. And they go to this forbidden forest up north, which feels like it's 2 miles away from their kingdom. They go into this forest that is protected by magic, There's different elements of fire, wind, water, heart. It's like Avatar. There's earth, fire, wind, and water. And they're leading on that there's a fifth element, Bruce Willis. And it just feels like a strange combination. Once more, I say that this movie is more of an expansion to set the board for a third movie, which they most certainly will. This is a huge franchise. They will make a trilogy. In that regard, I appreciate the world building. I appreciate the setting of the forest, which is on an aesthetic level beautiful, but I'll talk about that here in a bit. But the exploration of, oh, there's a tribe of people, and the past of how this tribe of people, they're magical and that they're in tune with the elements and the magic of the land. But how Elsa and Anna's grandfather sent soldiers there and built a dam and tried to like feign a relationship of like, hey, we are allies. Just kidding, we're not allies. And then a bunch of soldiers who got stuck up there in the forest still remain. This is the part that confuses me. This is the part that I don't like. It's kind of wonky and how like it doesn't really make sense from a practical point of view. Like if I was a tribesperson and I saw a bunch of white people building a dam trying to keep my water in, I would have gone, hey, don't, not let them build it, which would have taken them probably a year, and then go, hey, maybe you shouldn't have built that. Also, you think they would have torn the dam down themselves, which they didn't. And then you get a bunch of these tribes people hanging out with the soldiers who got stuck behind, and the soldiers are like, we're here to fight for our city, but we're also not really fighting at all. We're just standing around and we're actually kind of friends with the tribe now. That doesn't make sense to me. That was confusing. Also, something about how Elsa and Anna's mom is one of the tribes people who saved their father's life. Elsa and Anna are white as bread. I don't know how they are tribes people. That seems a bit contrived, but whatever. That all being said, the main core story of Elsa wanting to find herself, the main core story of Anna trying to keep up with her sister and being thrown into despair with how she's just slacking behind and losing her. I like those themes. I like the theme of change, which is very on the nose because Olaf talks about it directly, but still it works. Also, Olaf was much better in this movie. He wasn't as dumb. I like the meta nature of him talking about philosophical things, like I said before. It's good for comic relief, and I even had some laugh out moments from him and what he said. So that works. Kristoff, I couldn't care less. I thought he was dumb. Sven is just an extension of Kristoff. I don't really care about him either. And then as far as new characters go, you got like the tribes people and like the commander. Don't care. I think they're worthless. Not worthless. I just think that they don't really do anything for me. I like the little fire version of Pascal from Tangled, the little fire salamander who has the same sound effects as Pascal from Tangled. The water element is a horse. It's kind of cool. The wind is just wind. Kind of reminds me of Carpet, funny enough, from Aladdin. And then the earth ones are multiple entities. They're like a lot of stone giants. That was a bit confusing. I thought that there would be just one and not multiple. So that, I'm not sure how that works. Oh, and the music was great. I don't know at the moment if it's catchy or not, because I went into the film, again, I tried to be unbiased, but I went into the film thinking they're going to try and replicate some things, especially with Let It Go, which they did. With the entire scene, with the transformation of Elsa, with her dress, with her song that even has like a 3-word, let it go. And this one is like, I forget what it was actually. I guess it's a testament that it wasn't as memorable. Then again, it's only been a few days, so who knows? I might change my mind in the future after listening to the soundtrack some more. But overall, for the story, I think it's cool that they're trying to break into world building, that they went in a more magical direction with Elsa and her powers, how they explored more of the relationship with Anna and Elsa. That's good. I thought that the movie dragged in a lot of places. It has pacing problems. Around halfway, when Kristoff's song was done, I actually looked at my watch and I was like, yeah, this movie is kind of dragging here and there. Like, for them to enter the forest, for them to work their way up to that point was a bit, it slogged here and there. But then once Elsa started to take off on her own and Anna was separated, it picked up a bit more around that point. So, and also, again, when they broke the dam and the water rushed towards the town, it's like, how far away is this magical forest? It's like 2 miles away from the kingdom. They make it sound like it's like 100 miles away up north near the Arctic, but when the water breaks out from the dam, it's there in like 10 seconds. So I don't know. That was a bit confusing. Visually, for the animation, I thought that the movie looked superior to the first film, which makes sense. More money, more time for the artist to explore and get comfortable with the models. The models look better. They have more details on them. Love the outfits. Love the expressions. It felt more fluid with the movement and the facial expressions. The setting itself with the forest. I love the colors of autumn meets winter. The color palette they choose for the film works. It's gorgeous, and some great shots in this film too, with like the mountains and the trees. But the main winner of this film are the particle effects. The way that they use I can't even really, I'm not sure if I'm explaining this correctly, but the parts where Elsa's using her magic for her song sequences with the crystals and the snow and the wind and the fire, it felt like a light show, and it was gorgeous. It was beautiful, and you can tell that the animators went all out with that, with the way that they use the elements to tell their story through shapes and with like different sequences of the songs. I thought it was beautiful, like truly gorgeous. There was a part where my jaw even dropped, where I was like, whoa, this is outstanding. So in that regard, Frozen 2 is a beautiful movie. I feel like it pushed the envelope with particle effects and how they use it to, like, the particles form a horse. Now they form a face. It was beautiful, so fluid and gorgeous. But at the end, I see this movie as the second act of a bigger story. I really do think they will make a third film. I hope that they address a bigger threat, because the threat in this film was a past event with the grandfather. There wasn't really an antagonist. It just felt like they had to right a past wrong, and that wasn't as strong to me. What I would like to see in the third movie is a real active threat, a villain, another force of nature, and Elsa has to face it, a la Avatar style, the Fire Lord or something. Work with that concept. Give us a real awesome villain, because so far, the villains in this franchise have been ex-boyfriend and then jerk grandfather. Give me the heat miser. Give me a fire guy or something, some other villain, some other threat that's an active, real problem that can really put the sisters' relationship and their resolve to the test. I would love to see that. So if this sequel served as a world-building path to a better third movie, then I'm okay with that. But as it stands, I wasn't really clicking with this film as far as the real plot goes. In the sense of, I wasn't hooked in outside of well, let's see what Elsa discovers and let's see if Anna can keep up with it. Everything else felt kind of boring, though I do like the world building. Again, that was great. And of course, the visuals were very good. But here's hoping that they go in a bigger, bolder direction next time. And if that's the case, then I will forgive this movie for having a lukewarm plot. So those are my thoughts about Frozen 2. I would recommend the film, especially if you're a fan of animation. Despite its issues, I don't think it's a bad movie. I don't think the Frozen franchise is bad. I just see it as more of people hate on it because it's so popular. But that's not really the film's fault. That's due to marketing and merchandise and then just word of mouth. As a film on its own merit for the first and second, they're okay. I prefer Moana by a long shot. I prefer Zootopia by a very long shot. But as films on their own, they're okay. They're worth checking out. So tell me what you think about Frozen 2 in the comments if you've seen it, and I will see you all next time.